You may wonder why we've turned Big Ben into a cuckoo clock. Well, the name of the story is the Loony Left, a group holding power in Britain's inner cities whose policies many believe are aimed at destabilizing both the party and the nation. The party is the Labour Party, currently the opposition to Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government. That party has traditionally practiced middle-of-the-road socialism, but its current leader, Neil Kinnock, possibly facing a general election very soon, is also facing a threat by extremists that could destroy him and the Labour Party. Tonight we touch on just a few examples of what's concerning many Englishmen. Some are quite frivolous, some outrageous, some anti-American. All of them aimed at the next generation of voters.
Hello everyone! The left is here! And so is the genie! Slave no more! I'm free!
It is a production of Aladdin for schools in the London Borough of Brent. Aladdin rewritten with a new political message.
Freedom now! Freedom is the one thing I like. Isn't too much.
The red flag flies where once the Union Jack flew on borough council halls in many of Britain's big cities. In London, for example, the loony or hard left now holds majorities on 8 of 12 borough councils. Immigrant areas with large Asian and African populations. People whose treatment by a succession of British governments has varied from indifference to outright racism. The loonies have taken these people's legitimate concerns about social justice and mixed them in with their own quite different agenda. They seem to take the moral high ground on issues of racism and nuclear war, on how to change a society, and what better place to begin than the beginning. An Aladdin with the theme of liberation may not offend anyone, but it is an example of how the hard left is determined to inject a message of politics into every working and playing moment of a child's life.
But it also, implies that the girls are making a career for themselves and going to college and, are as likely to achieve as the male members of the family.
A meeting of the anti-racist, anti-sexist working party of the West Green Primary School, Borough of Haringey. The committee includes teachers, selected parents, and this man, the council's own political watchdog, a kind of ideological overseer. The committee's job is to purge the school library of books that it regards as racist or sexist.
And this is one of the examples. In this, the horse is black and the horse is uncontrollable. It kicks people and hurts people. It's always negative. It's not a white horse.
But at the end, hold on a minute, at the end,
I'm coming to
the
it.
horse is wonderful.
Yes, the horse is tamed.
White person.
The horse is tamed by a quiet, little, passive, white girl who gives it sugar. It's a bit sexist because the girl does it by giving it sugar. She doesn't, tame it or overcome it the way a male
She
figure
used
might.
her mind over the muscles.
Yes.
Or would you rather that Jennifer punched this horse between the eyes and she was so strong?
I'd rather she had the choice.
Yes, you have to undertake objective exercises like this. I don't think anyone at this table is saying it's easy, but it has to be done. I applaud the authority for having the courage to attempt that, to do that, because to me, that is the core of what education is about. It is about values.
And what no longer has value in a number of London's inner schools are Snow White. The once beloved Dr. Dolittle is now an enemy of the children. So is Beauty and the Beast. Rupert Bear has been declared racist. And Thomas the Tank Engine has had his last run, derailed by charges of sexism.
If you don't get it over, or if you're caught, never mind, go straight to the back and your turn will come round again. Okay, ready?
Competitive games in schools are being phased out. Competition, goes the theory, produces elitism and failure. Thus, non-competitive sports. Games without rules or scores or beginning, middle, or end. Winners, losers are out. Excellence is out. And so is at least one school principal who believed in it. Brian Dugan was principal of St. Jude's School in the borough of Southwark. The school excelled in sports and academics. When a number of Dugan students won scholarships, the Board of Education accused him of practicing elitism, and he was told in future to discard all scholarship applications. He wouldn't, and he was suspended. Did you feel that you were not being ideological enough to satisfy the authority?
Absolutely, yes. This was the point. I either became more sympathetic towards the political aspects of education in London, or I resigned, and I chose to resign.
Dugan has left to find work in Australia. Mafenwe Robson is also out. She is a 14-year-old high school girl in the borough of Camden. Her mother switched her school when she felt Mafenwe was being victimized by teachers with a Marxist view of history. One teacher was discussing the Cuban Missile Crisis.
And he said the Russians had every right to send missiles into Cuba, because that was his personal view. And he told us that capitalists were stealing from the workers.
Any other subjects politicized beyond history?
Mathematics was.
Maths isn't neutral, and it isn't culture-free, but is a product of the society in which it exists. It transmits the messages of that society, the political ideas of that society.
Europe Singh was commissioned by the Inner London Education Authority to initiate non-racist mathematics. It is openly political. For example, in teaching percentages, the questions are phrased in terms of exploitation of the workers.
There are people who gain from profit and people who lose from profit in society. You can't understand profit without actually centering it in a particular form of society.
So beyond learning how percentages work, there is a social message,
yes,
or a political message.
Yes.
A maths paper, of all papers, recently set as a formal examination for all London schools the difference between spending on arms of the United States and the Soviet Union, showing an enormous increase in expenditure by the United States as compared with the Soviet Union.
Carolyn Cox used to be a Labour supporter. She is now a Conservative member of the House of Lords, and she is concerned about the messages being sent in basic education.
The whole message being that, of course, it is America that is leading the arms race and the Soviet Union that is rather sadly trying to defend itself. Another example, if I might just draw your attention, is this, again produced at public money for London schools, called Pieces for Peace. And on the front it has pictures of demonstrations. The bottom one has a placard saying, "American murderers, get out of Grenada."
I have to run across the road.
The councils have put out the welcome sign to every special interest. The Brent African Women's Council, already subsidized by the borough, demands and gets certain food changes in the schools, trying the patience of the borough's education chief, himself a dedicated non-racist socialist.
What do they have? Do they have okra soup? Have they got jollof rice? Do they eat fufu? And yam, plantain?
We are providing yam, for example, at lunchtime in schools as a staple vegetable.
Councillor Anderson, I went to my son's school. When I visited, I went at lunchtime. I did not see yam or plantain.
Just because it wasn't there today, it doesn't mean to say it isn't there other days. Because there's a different menu every day. Every day we've got 5 different dishes.
How can you justify the fact that my child goes to school, an African child goes to school, or you want me, in fact, I would not like my child to go to school every day and eat the so-called European food. I want my child to eat African food.
Kuba Assegai was on the Board of Governors, a kind of local group of supervisors of 2 inner London schools. He was overheard telling youngsters that the United States had developed a race bomb that would be fatal only to black people.
You don't believe this? Seriously, I do. I do, and not only me believe it. Lots of other people believe it.
And the police. The police have been barred from entering a number of schools, and that includes drug abuse or even road safety lectures.
Listen, I'm a governor of 2 schools. I've instructed both headmasters that if they let the police into any of those schools, they better be looking around for a job.
You serious?
Damn right.
What if there's an accident in there that requires police attention?
They call me.
Why?
We decide whether or not the...
Why not the police?
If you look at the number of people who've been killed by the police over the last year, particularly here in London, it adds up to about 60 people who Yes, 60.
It's a questionable statistic.
Yes, it's a questionable statistics, but the monitoring group said it was 60. Now,
you don't believe it was 60?
It's not what I believe. Just like how do you believe the police so perfect?
The number is more like 8 people, and that includes prisoners dying of heart attacks and drug overdoses, as well as 2 actual shooting incidents. But the numbers game would seem to be just one part of a campaign to undermine confidence in the police.
British police! We have got no justice in this country, and we will take it, doesn't matter what. If it means that we must kill today, then we must kill.
Actors were hired for a professional video for distribution in the schools. It shows police brutalizing black people.
You're under arrest! You're the right! You are under arrest!
Posters have been placed in a number of schools. They list incidents of police brutality, carefully selected out of genuine investigations, which some see as small truths piled up to form a big lie. Both poster and video were distributed by a committee with the misleading title of Police Support Unit.
One of the things I've been looking at is a teacher's packet here on teaching of Auschwitz, yesterday's racism, which seems to deal very fairly, a very straight way with the horrors of the Holocaust.
And then suddenly you find that young people are being asked to make links between the horrors of Auschwitz and problems in contemporary Britain, such as, for example, the behaviour of our police, or so-called anti-trade union legislation. Now, for me, that is shocking because it trivialises the horrors of Auschwitz. It also suggests to our young people that our problems are of the same kind. If you look at the material which is being produced, it is going in a very extreme direction. For example, the so-called anti-sexism in some of our local authorities now involves presenting what is called positive images.
When Haringey Borough Council decided that it would go beyond simply ending discrimination against lesbians and homosexuals, but would urge that homosexuality be encouraged in the schools, it hit a nerve in a community that had hitherto been supportive or indifferent to the council's policies. The anger centered on a couple of books, especially this one, Jenny Lives with Eric and Martin, a picture book about a little girl, age 5, who lives with her father and his homosexual lover. The Haringey Parents' Rights Group turned up at the council meeting to complain. The council, with its Labour majority, voted to have those hated racist police remove the parents. Bernie Grant is leader of the Haringey Council.
Reverend Mayor, can I say that I have not been supplied with a copy of the book Jenny Lives with Eric and Martin. I've been supplied... I have been...
Our children are seeing it. Why hasn't the leader of the council seen it?
He's wasting time. The third part of the question asks whether I support fully the council's homosexual and lesbian policies. The answer to that is yes.
There is a genuine feeling among the parents group that what is at stake here goes way beyond homosexual rights or positive images, that it is a direct ideological attack on the family. Another book that angers them is an American publication for age 5 and up, which includes a how-to on masturbation.
That's not what I sent my child to school for. I would like them to raise the academic level of the school, not to teach my children about gay and homosexual activities.
I'm so shocked.
Do you have children in school in Haringey?
Yes, I have 2, yes. And I mean, if they're teaching, I'd say I'll take them out of school. There's no way I'm having my kids taught that rubbish. No way.
Why shouldn't it be left to us parents to teach our children what we want?
The defense of this is that they're trying to say that they're trying to teach the children non-sexism, non-racism.
But where does it end? Why can't we teach our children that? It's the way we bring up our children.
Do you think that there is political indoctrination going on in the schools?
Political indoctrination. All these big words. I mean, I'm just a normal mum, you know. But they're using their politics with our children. They're not going to. It's not mine.
out of order. They want to ruin family life. I, for one, will never, ever vote for them again.
Now return to Victorian values.
When a small group from parents' rights assembled to hold an all-night vigil at the Haringey Town Hall, it was met by a counter-protest of gay liberation people bussed in from all over London. This time the abuse was just verbal. Other times the women were urinated upon.
You are the ones that want to come in and dictate to our children what's right. What you do behind your own doors is your business, but don't put it down on top of our children and down our throats.
These women are not by any definition what the British called gay bashers, nor are they right-wing fanatics. They are, or were, Labour supporters, many of whom now believe that social justice gone haywire can be no justice at all.
The bigots, the pathetic little bunch of bigots to it.
We'll be back.